During this Virtual McArt lessons, we are going to be creating these gorgeous dragons using just colored pencil. Now I am using a small sheet of drawing paper. At the very end, I'm going to be adding a couple of white acrylic highlights. I have a little bit of white paint on a plate here with a very small round-headed paintbrush. If you don't have a paintbrush that's small like this, you can also use a very sharp colored pencil to apply your paint as well. I also have a sketching pencil and an eraser. Now, to start off my ferocious dragon, what I want to do is mask out where his head is going to be. So I'm coming roughly halfway down my page, and I'm going to kind of create a little arch here. That's going to be like the end of his nose. And then I'm going to bring it up into like an oval shape, just to show where the dragon's head is going to be here. Just a very light oval. When I'm sketching, I sketch very light, wispy lines, so I know I can take areas away. This just shows me where the head is going to be sitting. I've got to do a lot of cutting away at this shape to really create the look of a dragon's head now. Before I do that, let's mask out where his body is going to go as well. So I'm going to have a long neck that kind of arches down and around, that snakes away out of the page there. And then I'm going to have that kind of rolling around here at the bottom as well. So this is my dragon's neck and his head. Now at the moment he doesn't look very ferocious, does he? So let's do something about this head. So what I'm going to do is start cutting away, coming into the shape here, to make a more defined nose. I'm pressing a little harder with my pencil so you can see the lines a bit better. Press nice and lightly with yours. And then I want a nice kind of diamond shape here. Like that. There we go. And then another little line underneath here. So my dragon's mouth is actually going to be open. So this is going to come back into the jawline here. So I'm following that arch around. Your dragon absolutely does not have to look like mine. Take your dragon as wild and as crazy as you would like. So that's the jawline going back. So we're starting to look a little more refined and less like an elegant swan. We're getting more dragon-ish. Let's get our eye in there next. So my eye, I'm going to follow the corner of the mouth up, and I'm going to have like a little teardrop shape for now. Just a basic little shape to show me where the eye is going to go. I can work on that a little bit later on. Now my dragon's going to have like horns. So I want one sticking out behind here. Like that. And another one rolling around the front here. The horn is going to leave. So I'm doing a nice little wispy line that comes away. And back on. I'm using the space that I have. If you've got more space available over here, use that space. Fill it with some really spiky horns or whatever you want your dragon to have. This one's going to arch away a little bit here. There we are. Now, I don't really know where I'm taking this. I'm literally making this dragon up as I go. So, I'm using my knowledge, all the movies I've seen that have dragons, all the cartoons I've seen of dragons, and I'm pulling all my favorite bits. Lots of different spikes and horns. Let's do another one that rolls up the back there. I like that. So he's got like a row of little spikes along his head there. Now I'm imagining down the back he's got some nice kind of spikes going on. So what I'm going to do is have one rolling up to begin with. And then I'm going to have them start to kind of roll down away. There we are. I like where this is going a lot. Okay, now the front of his body here, I'm going to follow the jawline down a little bit. And let's do like a little opening up here on the front. And a couple of little rounded lines to show that he's not flat. That's his rounded chest there, or neck that rounds down into the chest. Beautiful. Let's get a big nostril down here. I like that. And then all these spikes, let's just go add a spike on the nose as well. Let's give him like a little spiky horn here. Oh, I like that. I have a feeling this dragon's going to be called Spike. Yeah, There's a lot of spikes going on, but I like it. I like where this one is going. So I'm just making it up as I go along. Often the best way to start a drawing is just by what you have in your head. No preconceived ideas of what you're going to achieve. Just let it flow. If you like the way it's going, keep it. If you don't like something, change it. It's that simple. Now I feel like he's missing something here. So I'm going to bring this one onto his head. So it almost kind of looks like an ear. So let's take out that bit behind. Oh yes, I like that. Do dragons have ears? This one does. So let's kind of bring that one down in front like that. He's got an eerie spike there. I like that. Now back to this eye. I want to get it looking more ferocious. So let's do an opening here that comes down. I want to round the front of it a little bit more. And do like really sharp, piercing pupil. They don't have rounded pupils. They have those little spikes. Like a cat's eye, kind of. Now I feel like he's not looking mean enough. I need to kind of pull it down and up a little bit more. It needs to get more of a nice sharp angle and a furrowed brow. There we go. Okay, that looks a little more mean. There we are. And now my dragon, I think I'm going to have like a little tongue that comes out here. That almost looks like a snake's tongue. There. Again, you don't have to do that. You could have a fire-breathing dragon if you wanted to. Totally up to you. But he's got to have some sharp teeth sticking out here. Maybe one or two coming down over as well. Ooh, I like that. Don't want to mess with this guy. I'm going to curl my tongue around a little bit, actually. Rather than just have it hanging out. I'm going to have it curling back around. Lovely. Oh, I like that a lot. Very nice. Now, I'm not going to do too many more details on my dragon. I do want to hint at having some scales going down his back, though. So starting up here, they're going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to rotate my paper to make a slightly easier angle for this. And then as I come down, they get a little larger and further spaced apart, following the direction of the body as they go around. That's all I need, just a little hint. And I'm ready for some color. But first, take out all the lines you don't want. So any wispy guidelines that were used just to help us get things in the right place, like the background there. Any scuff marks, I want to get rid of that and have just the lines that we want to keep to help us understand where our color is going to go. We don't want confusing lines all over the place that we don't need. Now, colors, dragon color, whatever you want to do. Absolutely anything goes for a dragon. There we are. So I want to start with a nice base of yellow down the main body of my dragon. I'm envisioning my dragon being lots of different hot colors, a very hot dragon. So I'm going to start with my yellow to begin with, and I'm using the flat of the pencil, not the pointy bit, the flat. Now I'm going to take this yellow all over the main section of my dragon, so the head down the body. So here we go, using my pencil on its side, chiseling back and forth. Using the flat of the pencil enables me to cover a larger area much quicker and leaving less pencil strokes behind. So I'm not using the pointy section, I'm using the flat, the length of the pencil. It can take a second to get used to. It does feel very funny using your pencil flattened out on its side like this. But once you get used to it, you can do some fantastic pieces of work covering the paper so quickly. So nice and hard. Yellow is like our light bulb color. I'm going to turn my work on its side, taking it all down my dragon's body as well. Now remember, you're in control of the pace of this video. You can pause it and take as long as you need. I work very quickly. And I've been doing these techniques for a long time, so that enables me to work very quickly. Take your time. Beautiful. I can always go in and blast some more yellow over the top of my colors. This is just my base color that I'm doing. Now I do want to add just a tiny hint of this yellow down the front as well. Now I'm following around the fronts of these shapes, down a little bit and around, down and around, down and around, just splashing the color on. Look how scruffy it is. We're not going for a highly finished pencil coloring drawing. We are just splashing colors on to really bring this guy to life. We want him to be super bold. I'm going to do the same on the spikes at the back. So a little bit at the back and down. So along the back and following down the spike. So the top of the spike here is left white. Now, I'm just showing you what I'm doing on mine. I am very excited to see how you've taken these wonderful dragons your own way. There are so many different things you could do to make him your own. Or her. What could you do to show it's a girl dragon? There we go. Okay, yellow down. I'm going to go to my orange next. Now, with my orange, I'm going to start building up a little bit of shadow around the side. I don't want my dragon to look flat. I want him to look rounded, coming out and going away. So I'm turning my paper on its side, using the flat again, and pressing a little bit harder, running up next to the edge here. As I come away, I am taking off the pressure, getting lighter and lighter and lighter. So by the time I get to about here, I am blending back into the yellow again. So nice and dark at the edge, nice and hard here, lots of pressure on the pencil. And then very quickly taking off the pressure, blending back into the lighter section in the middle. It's going to help our dragons look very shiny and rounded. Don't worry about those scales. We'll put those back in. There we are, and you've guessed it, we're going to do the same on this side. So pressing nice and hard on the very, very edge. Nice and hard, lots of pressure, moving that tooth of the paper down. As you come in, take off the pressure, getting lighter and lighter, blending back into the lighter shade in the middle, making your dragons look lovely and rounded. Again, it takes practice and take your time. Whatever color you're doing, you just want your darker color to be on the outer edge, so your lighter color shows through in the middle. Like if you're doing a green dragon, actually if you're doing green, you could still have a lovely bright yellow base. If you are doing a blue, you would do the light blue in the middle and do a dark blue and perhaps a purple accent on the outsides. Oh, that would look wonderful. Even if you were doing a pink dragon, lay down the pink first and do a darker red or a purple towards the outsides. Now I'm going to do that same technique on the face. So first of all, I'm rolling around the bottom jawline here with my pencil. As I come onto the dragon's face, I'm taking off the pressure, lighter and lighter. The lighter I press, the more yellow shows through and the lighter my orange looks. And then down on the jawline here, using the point of the pencil to do the very edge. So I have lots of control over where my pencil color is going. Oh, he's looking gorgeous, isn't he? He's really coming to life. Spin your work around to make an easier angle to work from. I'm going to build up some of that dark orange under the eye. As I come away from the eye, taking off the pressure, lighter and lighter, blending out into the surrounding area. There we go. Nice and dark along his jawline here, his upper jawline. And then taking off the pressure as I come back over the muzzle again. Are you starting to see a trend? Yep. Nice and dark on the outside edge of the dragon, lighter as we come into the center. That really helps to make our dragon look lovely and rounded, not flat, not one flat color. Dark on the edge, take off the pressure as we go in. There we are. Lighter as I go in. I can add lots of wonderful textures and details over the top to bring him to life even more. But right now, I just want this same technique all over, just with the orange. Made the end of his ear there nice and dark. And a little bit of dark under his ear as well. See how that gets his ear to pop forward? Do this last little horn here. Beautiful. Let's turn him up the right way and take a look. Wow, he came to life quickly. Beautiful. But we're going to bring him to life a whole lot more than that. You'll see. Let's just do this front section here. Now, I'm thinking of doing something a little bit different. I'm going to add a little bit of green onto his spikes here. I'm going to have all the hot colors on his body. So I want to do a little hint of a green. A little different. Just lightly following over the top of the yellow in these areas. Why not? He's my dragon. I can have him look however I like. You could have a rainbow dragon. That would look awesome. Each section a different color. You know how dragons breathe fire? Yours could breathe rainbows. I'm sure there's lots of boys cringing out there going, no, dragons don't breathe rainbows. Well, they can. They can breathe whatever you want them to. Although I imagine this one would be a fire breather. Definitely. And a little bit on the back here as well. I love doing pencil color because of how easy it is to just layer up the colors and create some really explosive color combinations that create so much depth so quickly. Look at my strokes. I'm so scruffy. I have no interest in creating a beautiful, smooth finish that looks photographic. Not for this. I just want fun, wispy, scruffy lines. There we are. And I guess a little bit of green in the ear. I haven't really decided what was going to go in there. Now, I do kind of think I want a bright yellow eye for my dragon too. So I'm going to do a little bit of yellow in the ear, a little bit harder. And I'm going to press really hard to do a nice bright yellow eye as well. There we go. Lovely. Now, with my yellow, I kind of want to brighten up my orange a little bit. This guy's coming to life so quickly. So I can go over the top of my orange here, pressing a little bit harder with my yellow. I still want to leave this one strip here a little bit lighter, but I want to create a slightly brighter blend from my yellow to that lighter area. Being pretty rough with the color now. Gorgeous. And we'll do a little bit on the chin around here. There we are, looking pretty ferocious. Now I'm going to take my red next and start working on some of these scales. So I'm going to turn my paper to make an easier angle. You can still see the pencil lines through here. What I'm going to do with my red is just create a nice little arch. And then again, taking off the pressure as I come up. So I'm doing just a little red arch. And then taking off the pressure as I come up onto the scale a little bit. If you prefer your dragon without scales, you absolutely do not have to do this. We're all going to have slightly different dragons. I'm just adding a little bit of fun texture on mine. So I do my arch, pressing a little bit harder, and then a small tickle motion coming away. So pressing a little bit harder, and a very gentle blend coming up so the red blends back into the main color of the dragon. So you don't see a circle of red. You just see that bottom dark edge. There we are, beautiful. I'm going to do that all the way up. There we are. So we have some lovely scales. Now I'm going to switch up and use my darker shade here. I've got a darker shade of red. You can absolutely use the same shade again. It doesn't matter. And I just want to create a little bit more drama going around the outside edge of his face. So same again, pressing hard on the outside edge, taking off the pressure straight away. So we end up with a smooth blend. So a little tiny bit darker on the outer edge and lighter as you come in. A little bit coming down the side of the body here. Not much, just a tiny bit. And on the other side, it doesn't take much at all, does it? This is a nice, powerful color. You don't even have to do a darker shade of what's already on your work. You can do a totally different color. If you've got blue, you could overlay a purple. If you've got a green, you could overlay a blue. You could even grab a scrap of paper and try building up a few colors first and see which ones you think go together the best before they even touch your work. Getting that nice dark point at the end of the ear. I have chosen a rather unusual color combination, haven't I? The oranges and the greens, but I really like it. It's different. I haven't seen a dragon like this. It's good to be original with your work. Nice and dark in between, starting to build some layers on the face. And a nice dark area around the eye. Everything is about getting that eye to come forward. There we are. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a red tongue on my dragon as well. So coming out of the dragon's mouth here. Now I've got to be careful because my tongue goes between the teeth. If your dragon's mouth is closed, you don't have to worry about the teeth. Now my tongue is the same color as my dragon, so right now it's a little confusing, but when we add our black outer edge in a second, you'll be able to see the teeth and the tongue. So I'm trying to carefully go between my teeth to get that tongue tucked away there. Gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to put my color to one side and I'm going to pick up my black, sharp black pencil for this. And I'm going to use this to do the outside edge and really get my dragon to pop forward. So when I do my outside edge, I want to use short, sharp, nice dark lines. So I'm starting up here, digging my pencil in, short, sharp little strokes. Now the reason why I do short, sharp strokes like this is because when I do one continuous line, I wobble a little bit and my beautiful edges that I've created end up being a little bit wobbly. So by doing little short, sharp lines like this, I've got way more control over my pencil, where it goes and what it's doing. Getting that beautiful dark line. Now I want to go in here and get this nostril to stand out a bit more. Ooh, I like that. Let's get that black pupil in on the eye as well. Yep, doesn't exactly look like the friendliest dragon, but that's kind of what I was going for. I wouldn't want to go and give this dragon a hug. Beautiful. Let's just darken up the corner of the eye a little bit here. There we are. So I'm going to carry on that dark line around everything. Stop and sharpen your pencil as many times as you need to. As your pencil gets blunt, your line gets thicker. And we don't want thick lines around here. We want nice, fine lines, especially for doing sneaky little areas like the teeth, which we absolutely want to look razor sharp, don't we? Like this. So let's go around our entire dragon. Oh, I love those teeth. Yeah, definitely not looking like a very friendly dragon right now. Let's go around the entire dragon, adding this dark line. There we go, and I'm going to do just a little bit of a dark line, one single line this time, because I want it to be really thin, going under my little scales, going down the side of his neck. Beautiful. And then I'm going to use my black very, very lightly to build up a little bit of drama in one or two areas, like under his chin here, under his jawline. Very lightly, little circle motion. It does not take much. I don't want it to look like a solid black. I want it to look like a darker red. So I'm pressing very lightly, just grazing, ever so gently grazing the top of the paper. There we go. And the same here, just in a few areas. Dark areas go back, light areas come forward. So think about that. Think about what areas do you want to come forward. You want the ear to come forward. So by building up a little bit of shadow around the outside of the ear, we push the ear forward. By building up some shadow around the eye, we get it to pop out a little bit. Just doing a couple little lines to show a little bit of shadow on the front of the chest. I'm not doing any blending here. I'm just doing a couple wispy lines. Same on the back here. Wisping my pencil in the same direction as the back of his little spike there. There we go. Now I want to get a tiny bit of shadow on these horns here, these brilliant white horns. So what I'm going to do with my black is just very gently down low, wisp it up. There we go. It's all it needs. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow over as well. My yellow's gotten a little bit blunt. Doesn't matter. A little bit more shadow underneath here. Just coming down so it looks like his head is kind of casting a bit of a shadow on his neck there. And just to build up a little bit more texture on this guy, I'm going to do some rolling lines that go over the front of his head here. Again, this is optional. I'm just building on what I have here. So these little bits here. Again, to make him look a little more rounded. Again, work with what you have. I'm sure we're all looking at something a little bit different right now. Now, last thing I want to add on mine is a little splash of blue or purple. What do you think? I'm going to go with a cold color. So on my horn, just a little squiggle. Super fast. Don't overthink it. A little bit on the teeth. The light area of these guys, just a little splash of blue as well. Again, don't think about it too much. He's supposed to be a very rough, fun little dragon sketch. Now, you can do anything you want in your background. If you just want to lay down some crazy colors, you could have some fire coming up behind him. Now, what I'm going to do on my dragon, the very last thing, just to bring him to life a tiny bit more, I've got some white acrylic paint here and a little paintbrush. I'm going to add a couple of dazzling little highlights just to make him glisten and get his eye to really light up. I'm going to start in the eye. So picking up just a small amount of white paint, no water mixed in. We want the paint to be really bright for this. I'm going to do a nice bright hot spot on my dragon's eye and just a little bit underneath with the white to get him to stand out there. Couple little spots on top. You can add as many highlights as you want, but I recommend keeping them very subtle. I'm going to do some little tiny white ones rolling around the back of his head here. There we are. Nice fun bit of detail. Same on this one. If you go too heavy, you can just wipe them off with your finger while they're still wet, or wait for them to dry and you can go back over it with pencil color. A little bit of white in the nostril if you want to brighten those teeth up. Oh, I like that. Little glisten on his tongue. I want to add a couple little spots down on his cheek here just to show a little bit of texture too. Not too many, just a bit of fun texture. And then a little bit of a shine going down one or two of his scales. So just doing some little spots here. Again, just a fun little bit of detail. Not too much at all. If you do too much, you can lift it off, wait for it to dry, and go over it with pencil color. 1 or 2 spots down his chest as well. And there we go, my dragon is done. Couple little highlights just to bring him to life a little bit. Make sure you clean your brush off really well. There we go, from start to finish, a completely made up mythical dragon. Now you've got these wonderful skills in your toolbox. Give it another go. Try coming up with your very own mythical creature. It can literally be any style, any colors, and any personality. But have a think before you start drawing. What kind of personality are you trying to capture? I certainly wasn't going for a huggable dragon, and I think I've achieved that with this guy here. Whatever you choose to do, please share. I would love to see your awesome creations. So upload to the comments of Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Even send your masterpieces via the student portal in Virtual McArt. Let's see your ferocious dragons.